Welcome to the Collector Cave, and today we have a year in review for 2024 of the Mezco figures that I got in the calendar year. Now, a couple of these were released prior to 2024, but I got them in 2024, so I'm counting everything I received the calendar year. And surprisingly, quite a few Mezco I got this year. I think 19 total, which was quite a bit. But as you can see, some of these figures, as I do an overview, here's the grouping of figures I got in the calendar year from Mezco Toys, and a lot of them are really fantastic. A couple duds in my opinion, but overall, most of these are pretty awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from my least favorite figure to my greatest or my best figure out of these 19. So it's going to be a tough decision. It took me a lot of time to do to get these figures out of storage in some cases, out of collection cabinets, write down these figures 1 through 19. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and please let me know what you think about some of these. Were any of these in your top 5, top 10? Which one of these ones is your favorite? Which one of these do you not like? So let's get started with number 19, my least favorite Mezco figure from this year. Okay, number 19, my least favorite figure, and this isn't technically from this year, but I got him this year, is Ultraman. And while it's a nice figure for the most part, I just never really was into Ultraman. I remember as a kid growing up in the 80s, I would see him in Saturday afternoon cartoons. After that, it would be like Godzilla and then an Ultraman movie. But I did win this from Mezco Mondays. I finally won after a few years of once in a while trying to enter that contest they have on Mondays. And the week I won, this was the really only one I would have taken out of the choices I had. So I did get him. Now, unfortunately, mine has a big scar. It's kind of hard to tell here, but you can see it right here. That came like that out of package. And I contacted Mezco, and they said they didn't have any more for replacement because this figure is like 2 or 3 years old. So that's kind of a bummer to see that. It's not super noticeable, but up close you can see it. And he does have light up functionality and a cape, and he comes with some destroyed buildings that are smaller because he's supposed to be super big. A cool release, but definitely my least favorite Mezco figure I got this year. Okay, next on the list is Robin Damian Wayne. This is Damian Wayne version. And this one came out, I believe, in 2023, but I kind of waited and got it later from BBTS, Big Bad Toy Store, just because I eventually gave in. I thought he looked cool. Damian's my least favorite Robin. I wish it would have been like a Tim Drake. And he's too tall, in my opinion. You put him next to Batman, he's much taller than he should be. A good figure, but again, out of all the ones I have, my second least favorite of the year from Mezco. Okay, for many, they probably love this figure. And I was disappointed with a lot of this figure. One, it feels like it's lesser quality material. The cape is really light. I feel like this cape is going to break apart a lot quicker than other capes. It's very thin material. The figure itself is super light. It's like it's a different body. And it didn't pose well for me. And I'm not the hugest fan of this movie. It's okay. I watched it once or maybe twice, and it's just okay in my opinion. So I'm not blown away by this. The suit is cool looking. It's like an early Batman. But yeah, it was tough to figure out where to put this one, but it's towards definitely the lower end for me personally. I think a lot of people might have this one higher in their opinions, but I was a little disappointed with some of this the way some of this was done when I reviewed it initially on my channel. Okay, it's probably a travesty having this figure this low on my list because this is a fantastic figure. This is Popeye. I think it's like a 2.0. I think this version or something similar came out a couple years ago. And I'm just not big into the IP. I mean, I've seen the Robin Williams movie when I was a kid, and I'm just not a huge Popeye person. With that said, this figure does look fantastic. A lot of playability with the 3 different hats. He has a spinach can that's opened and one that's closed. He has a compass. He has a whole bunch of cool stuff. A pea coat, these pipes with some with smoke, some without, and the head sculpts that come with it too are fantastic. I probably should have this figure higher on my list, and maybe any other year I might have, but I just have other figures when it comes to the IPs that I prefer more than this figure. But A very excellent release from Mezco this year. Okay, next up is Superman Recovery Suit Edition. This is from, I think, about a 90s comic run from when Superman died and he was resurrected. I never really got into it. I never was a big Superman person or 90s comics for the most part. This is a cool looking figure. I love the big emblem and the plastic emblem. I love this hand with the cyborg Superman. But overall, I don't really have much attachment to this whole comic run or this version of Superman. He does come with a lot of head sculpts, which is cool, and this is a very fantastic looking head sculpt. And the suit looks good. It holds up. It's got a bunch of armor pieces you can put on. He has a bunch of cool accessories. Again, this one just doesn't hit home with me for nostalgia purposes, just because I wasn't really into that run of comics. Nonetheless, a nice release by Mezco. Okay, next up is Cyclops, and you're probably wondering why this is on here. This figure is like at least 3 or 4 years old. Well, I got him this year. I got him from BBTS. He was half off. He was 50 bucks. And this is actually the look I grew up with when it comes to Cyclops and X-Men. So I got the other version initially from Mezco when it came out, like the 97 look. But I don't know why I passed on this. This is the PX exclusive version, which comes in a tin box, and it's designed for the comic book shops and other online retailers like BBTS. And the head lights up, the beam is supposed to light up. It's not the best. Again, this is an older figure, but I really like this version of Cyclops, and I'm glad I got him at a discount. So super happy to have this guy, and a good release from Mezco as well. Okay, let me start by saying I absolutely love that Mezco is doing Golden Age DC stuff and like Silver Age classic Marvel stuff. And this figure would have been higher, but he's not without some problems. And I'm not a huge Robin person. I'm glad I have this because I have the Batman that matches this, and they look great side by side. And I love this Bola. The biggest problem with this figure is his ankles. This pose won't stay. I'll come in tomorrow morning and this thing will be flopped over. So the ankles are weak. There's no articulation with the ankles. And the hands, they changed the peg system. And I've never had a problem with Mezco's pegs for their hands, and they've made it a lot more difficult to pull the hands on and off. So that's kind of a problem. And I'm also not crazy about how the shorts turned out. They look okay, but I think they could have been done better, in my opinion. But again, I love this classic look, and I'm so glad that Mezco is doing this. I hope we get more classic villains from the Golden Age, like Riddler, Penguin. I know Joker's on his way sometime soon. We already have a Two-Face, so looking forward for Mezco to continue this line. All right, and this is Mezco's own IP, Rumble Society. This is Slugfest. And if you follow Mezco, you might be a big Rumble Society person. They're releasing more and more Rumble Society figures, which is really cool. And this guy turned out fantastic. This is Slugfest, and he does have a light-up head, which I don't think I have the batteries in right now. But I haven't pulled out a lot of the accessories for these figures, but he does come with this cool, this moonshine, which is like oil-based, like an oil-based moonshine. And the cork comes out. It's not hollow, but it's pretty cool. And he has this cool anvil right here and a couple other really cool accessories. And this was released earlier this year, and it's a fantastic release. I don't have all the Rumble Society stuff, nor do I want all of it. But every once in a while, there's a cool looking figure that I will get, and this was one of them. Okay, and this is the next one I like. This is Aluma Rook. He's also Rumble Society, and this was a cool release. Came with an awesome comic book that I can't seem to find right now. I've got it laying around here somewhere. But he has a light up function. This figure is very much the use of the body of Krigg 13. So if you have any of the Krigg figures, a lot of this is the same. And this armor piece, but it lights up. The head lights up. You can take this off, and you see what he looks like underneath. And then it's actually an alien that's taken over this body. And this is the head of the alien. You can see it's like a larva or some type of like tentacled monster that's kind of taken over this body. Pretty cool comic that it was included with this. And this green, there's different types of accessories he has for this hand. It's all translucent green. Reminds me a lot of the Hal Jordan Green Lantern stuff. as far as that translucency they have with these parts. So this was a really cool release. I'm really glad I got this Rumble Society figure. All right, next up is Thanos. And again, this is a figure that came out a few years ago. I originally pre-ordered it, but I canceled it during COVID. And then I got him for a discount at Amazon of all places. So I got him last year. And I know a lot of people weren't crazy about this release. They don't like when these big figures can't be articulated good. I personally have no problem with that. Typically, bigger figures aren't going to articulate better. The one glaring issue this figure had was the Infinity Gauntlet, which they totally botched on the design of that. That's the one glaring problem with this figure, I will admit that. But with that said, he looks fantastic without the gauntlet. And these head sculpts, I personally think are some of Mezco's best head sculpts. If I zoom in and look at this one, you can see how fantastic this looks. And I think it comes with like 2 or 3 head sculpts, and they're all a little different. But this smiling one is fantastic. And this armor piece up here by the shoulder comes off. You can take it off if you want. But I think this figure is fantastic. And he looks great next to like Doctor Doom. And of course, you know, his counterpart from DC, Darkseid. Having these figures released from these companies, I'm so happy they've done them. And I'm glad I have this figure. Okay, next up is the Amazing Spider-Man edition that came out earlier this year, and I really thought this figure would be higher for me, but it's just ones that I like better. But this is a classic look from Spidey from the comics, and he comes with a lot of stuff. He comes with a web parachute, a web shield. He has a normal base with that says the Amazing Spider-Man, but I like this rubberized one and these little spider bots that are like for him infiltrating and stealth. But it is an awesome release, and the eyes light up. Now, initially with mine, when I took it apart during my review of this figure, trying to get the batteries out, the electronics broke. And so I messaged Mezco, and they sent me a whole new figure, which was really awesome of them. So that was kind of a bummer to have that happen. I mean, some of these batteries that go on these heads are so small, and the parts are so intricate. It's difficult to when they stick. So I'm not sure why his eyes light up. To me, it's a function I don't need for a Spider-Man figure, but I guess it's cool they included that. And he has this cool looking translucent like web pack, which I absolutely love. I've had it on the figure since I got it. So again, and Mezco's making more of these classic looking Marvel comic figures. I think we have Cap on pre-order. We also have Dr. Octopus. I cannot wait for that. So I'm hoping Mezco makes more Spidey villains. Imagine having the Sinister Six from classic comic looks, like a Mysterio and Kraven the Hunter. There's so many cool things we could get. Electro. So I'm hoping Mezco continues this run with more villains and not just the heroes. Okay, next on the list is Gwen Stacy, or as Mezco called it, Ghost Spider. I know her as Spider-Gwen. This was a really interesting release. I love Gwen Stacy. I love Spider-Gwen. And she comes with this cool little translucent portal, because you know she goes through different multiverses. And this figure was really surprising because they've redone the female body for Mezco figures, which was much needed. And a lot of this is like a silicone, like a Fison type body or medical grade silicone. So the whole chest, the thighs, I don't think the shins are, and the arms are not. They're plastic. But you get much better range from this female body than any of the female bodies that Mezco had up until this point. And it's metal armature as well. So you can get her going back really far, as you can see. She can really do a lot of cool poses. I think this metal armature is much better than the '89 Batman one. That thing was kind of a mess. But so far, I've had no problem posing this figure with the armature. And every time I pose her, she looks fantastic. Looks really good. Like you can get some really good dynamic poses with this. But the only problem I have is it's hard to keep the feet because this is so strong. The suit is so thick at the ankles. A lot of times she doesn't want to stay. And it wants to fall over on the stand. But overall, man, this was a win in my book for Mezco, and I hope when they release more female figures that they use a body, the same body or something very similar, because to me it works out really good. I like it a lot. Okay, now we're down to the last 7 figures, and this is where things got really difficult for me. I'm a huge Dick Tracy fan, especially of the the '90 movie. First was Batman '89, and then Dick Tracy the year later. And being a young teenager, those were just fantastic, and I still love this movie to this day. Now these are based off of the comic strip, the Chester Gould comic strip, not that movie. I would have loved to have seen them get the Dick Tracy movie license for these. But with that said, Flat Top has always been my favorite Dick Tracy villain. Of course, I prefer the look of the one from the movie over the comic because I grew up with that. But with that said, this is a really cool release. He came with Dick Tracy in a 2-pack, and there's so much stuff that these guys come with. He has this case, and you can put the machine gun, his Tommy gun inside the case. He comes with this thing of dynamite, a bomb, a whole bunch of different things, different head sculpts. And I think these are some of my favorite releases from Mezco this year. And I'm surprised because I like Flat Top so much. I have Prune Face above him. I'll get into details as to why. But know that this is a great release. I think it's sold out everywhere, the Dick Tracy Flat Top 2-pack. So it might be hard to find it now. It might be for waitlisted on Mezco's site, but I know it's sold out at Big Bad Toy Store. So getting this set now might be difficult, but it's fantastic, and I'm so glad that I was able to come by it. Okay, and coming in right above Flat Top is Prune Face. And this is one that I got through BBTS, and this was actually the first figure that came out from Dick Tracy. He came out before Dick Tracy and Flat Top did, the 2-pack. And this figure turned out so good. The head sculpts on this are fantastic. And he has the overcoat and a scarf you can put on him. And he has these awesome gas bombs. He comes with a gas mask, and he comes with like a radio, like a headset with a typewriter type radio thing. It's really cool. He has some cool accessories. But I think just this look of him kind of nonchalantly with his gas bomb trying to gas out Tracy is a really cool look. I've had him in this pose for a while. I've got his hand in his pocket. I think there's actually not a hand on there, just the wrist peg to make it fit in better. But boy, the fact that Mezco is doing some of this older stuff from the 30s and 40s is really cool. And I missed out on the blank. It was a limited run. Unfortunately, there was problems with the website, and I didn't get the blank. So if you're watching this and you have it in your heart, if you have the blank or know someone doesn't want it, please let me know, because I would love to get my hands on that. Bummed that I missed that. And I'm hoping they release more Dick Tracy villains. I'm sure they will. We'll see what the future holds. Okay, we've entered top 5 territory. So number 5 on my list of favorite Mezco figures for 2024 is the Void Wars Void Cadet Gomez Red Eye Night Edition. And this edition, which this is the first Gomez I actually got next to the Casino one, which I got years later on a wait list. This is the first Gomez I've actually got day one. And I found out that this thing is going for like $500 on eBay. I don't know if it still is. I haven't checked, and I don't plan on getting rid of this guy. It's a really great release. He comes with so much. He has a cloak. He comes with a laser sword, so it looks like Darth Vader with a red sword. He has this cool gun. He has this awesome backpack that's magnetic on this chest piece, which is very intricate to put on. There's actually buckles. Very difficult to put on and very difficult to take off. And he comes with a little grub that matches him, a little Void Wars grub. Check him out. How cool is that? And my only big complaint about this figure and a couple other figures from Mezco this year is the way they've done the belts. It's like a peg system, and it never stays on. It is so difficult and frustrating. Mezco, if you guys are watching this, please change how you do your belts. This one and Dr. Doom's belt are so frustrating to deal with. If you could find a better way to do it, it would be much appreciated. But there is a light up function, I believe, for the blade. It's like a backpack that clips onto a little pack that clicks onto his belt, and a wire runs down and it lights up his lightsaber, his light blade. It's Mezco's way to say this is a Star Wars figure without having a Star Wars license, we all think. But with that cloak on and with the saber lit up, he looks like some sort of Sith, which is pretty cool. And he comes with a second head sculpt as well. So yeah, this is my number 5 figure release for Mezco for 2024. Very cool. All right, coming in at number 4 for the year is Dick Tracy. And man, I already said about the flat top. This two-pack was fantastic, a great release. The cool thing about these older comic figures, whether it be comic strip or comic books, is there's colors. The colors pop. And everything today is so dark and dreary and depressing and black and gray. And I get it to some degree, Batman should be brooding in that regard, but it's refreshing to get figures that have colors that pop. And seeing these guys together in frame, or like the Batman and the Robin from the Golden Age, they look fantastic. And this Dick Tracy is like that. Awesome head sculpts. He comes with the hat. The hair pops off each head sculpt and comes off really easy, and the hat goes on in place of the hair. And when the hat's on, you can't even tell there's no hair on top. It was a really cool design. Then he has a little watch comlink, calling Dick Tracy, calling Dick Tracy. And the trench coat is wired, as you can see. Just a really fantastic release. And he comes with some other stuff, a lot of other items, a coffee mug, a bunch of different things he comes with. But yeah, this brings me back to my childhood with the Dick Tracy movie, even though this is based off the comic from the 30s, I believe. But man, so cool that Mezco got this license, and I'm looking forward to more Dick Tracy figures, hopefully this year. All right, coming in at number 3 for my favorite Mezco figure of the year is Indiana Jones Temple Edition. And this is a deluxe edition that comes with this opening scene when he's in that temple in Peru where he gets that golden idol. And it comes with the stand, the bag of sand. This thing comes with a lot. Now, I expected this to be my favorite figure of the year, or close to it. And it is, it's number 3. But a couple misses on Mezco's part kept this down from being 2 or 1. And if we look at the figure, one of the problems I have is the holster here. The holster doesn't really stay down. It's too thick of pleather. If it was thinner and it had a metal and a magnetic clasp, it would hold it better. That's one issue. The other issue is the whips. As you can see, this whip is on there. It's molded plastic. It comes with 2 other whips, but none of them are bendable. They're all molded plastic, and from what I've heard, they're easy to break. So I don't like the fact that I can't bend Indy's whip. I don't know why they made them out of plastic. I mean, Catwoman they made 6, 7 years ago, it wasn't bendable, but it felt like whip material. And I like that whip much better than the ones they gave Indy. So that was disappointing. And the other thing that's difficult is taking off, much like Dick Tracy, the hair comes off and then the hat goes on. And taking that piece of hair off is difficult. It's a plug and it's really hard to put on. I'm just worried about damaging paint either on the face sculpt or the hair or the hat over time, changing these heads out, because there is 4 heads. And some people say this doesn't look like Indiana Jones or Harrison Ford. I think 2 out of the 4 are very good looking, and this being one of them. This is that smirk. I think it looks pretty good for a Harrison Ford from 1981. Not bad. And he has this pouch, which I put on, I think correctly. In my review, I didn't have it on right. I just put it on. But I think in the movie, this is how he had it, underneath his coat, which does come off, and it's pleather. I worry this coat's going to rip. Putting it back on, and almost like the seam was going to come apart. It's thin material, much like the Pattinson Batman. They've gone much thinner. And maybe that's 1, to save money. Maybe it's 2, to try and give better maneuverability with posing, having a coat on a 1/12 scale figure, but I just worry that it's not going to hold up. So we'll see. Time will tell. And the other thing that's maybe a point of contention for some people is that, and here's the golden idol, which I would have loved if it was magnetized, because it doesn't really stand very good. It falls so easy, as you can see. But this pedestal is made out of polystone, which I think is cool. I think it tells us that Mezco took great care in this license. It could have been plastic, and it would have maybe saved some money, maybe. But I think it's cool that we got a polystone pedestal with this release. So that's number 3. We got 2 left. Let's see who's number 2. Okay, coming in at number 2 is Green Goblin, which kind of surprised me. I didn't expect a Spidey villain that's not one of my favorites to come in at number 2, but I think this release is so fantastic that I had no choice but to put it this high. He came in earlier this year. He came in before Spider-Man, I believe. I think. But he comes with so many accessories and options. There's like five head sculpts, I think, 2 Norman head sculpts, maybe 6 head sculpts, 4 goblin head sculpts. You can also have a goblin mask he can carry, multiple different types of, accessories, these types of bombs. He has frogs, he has ghosts, he has tons of stuff. He has the glider, and he has a messenger bag, and this classic look. Again, the colors pop, especially in the camera frame. They're much more bold in the camera than they are in real life, but still in real life, it looks fantastic. And having him like this with Spidey pose next to him up in a Detolf is fantastic. So high marks for Mezco in making this figure. And I know they're making Doc Ock. I'll tell you what, if Doc Ock is done well, that might be one of my early run-ins for favorite figure of Mezco for next year, assuming he releases next year. We'll see. It's been a while. But yeah, Green Goblin, Norman Osborn, my second favorite Mezco release of the year. That brings us to number 1. And we've come to it. My favorite Mezco figure for 2024, Doctor Doom. Now you might be saying he came out in 2023. Well, guess what? I think I was the last person on Earth to receive Doctor Doom. Mine came like January 8th of 2024. So I received this figure at the beginning of this year. And this is a figure that I actually personally messaged Mezco for probably 3 years straight. He probably got tired of seeing my Instagram messages to them. Every once in a while, I'd fire, we need a Doom figure. We need Doctor Doom. We need Doctor Doom. So I like to think that I'm directly responsible for having Doctor Doom delivered. I'm sure I wasn't the only person asking for him. But Doom is my favorite Marvel villain, and to get a Mezco version, which Mezco is my favorite toy company for the most part, I was just ecstatic. First, I got the Fantastic Four set, which came out, I think, in November of last year, and then he showed up a couple months later. It was like, I'm a huge FF fan and Doom fan, so for me, I was like, my holy grails for Mezco figures were met last year and this year. But this Doom figure, he has metal parts, not all of him, but a lot of him is metal, like his shins, his arms, some of his chest is actually metal. And he comes with so many accessories. I can't get to the box right now. It's behind a bunch of stuff, but if you get a chance, if you don't have this figure, look him up online and look at all the accessories. I have a review of him you can watch as well from earlier this year. He comes with so much stuff and so many head sculpts and face masks, and they did a great job. They did a great job with this release. The only complaint I have, and again, it goes back to this belt. This belt's much better than the other belt. The other belt has more going on with a holster for a gun, but again, it's that peg, and it would never stay on for me. I was so frustrated, so I just said, forget it, I'm using this one. I'm not changing it. This is how my Doom is sat in my Detolf around with Fantastic Four around him since I've had him for this year. He's due for a change up with more accessories. But I just there's no way anything was going to surpass this year with this Doom figure coming. If I would have got him last year, things would be different. But yeah, these are my 19 Mezco figures I got in the calendar year of 2024. Just to recap my top 5: Doctor Doom number 1, Green Goblin number 2, Indiana Jones number 3, Dick Tracy number 4, and the Void Wars Gomez, the Void Cadet Red Eye Knight edition number 5. Not really any figure I didn't like. Again, with Mezco, there's always something that's not done perfectly or done right for the most part. But every once in a while you get a release that is just near perfection, like this Doom figure. Apart from that belt, I don't have any issues with this figure. And these are magnetic. They can move. The clasps can move. And I'm so excited that I finally got this figure. So let me know what you guys think. I did a Hot Toys video like this yesterday, and this one's going to drop tomorrow from date of reviewing, December 31st. So please give it a like, comment. Let me know what you guys think about Mezco. What was your favorite release of the year? What figures did you not like? Out of the ones I have, what do you guys think? So until next time, thanks for watching.